Medicine, joyful. Okay. And the rest is excited, happy. Yeah. Curious. Curious. Okay, bien Mathieu. Joshua is alive. Au top, incarnation. C'est bon, ça. By the way, if you want to speak French or another language, we can always translate if it's needed. Like, feel free to come as you are. This is your place. Okay. Kara excited, Daniel curious, Mathilde happy, Sandy curious. Okay, cool. Thank you for playing. All right. As always, this will be a conversation today. So feel free to ask, challenge, share, or just listen. Um, back in Feb, we had a first table where we opened the space around the vision for Puzzlin and the ecosystem. It created new connections and several paths to explore. And since then, things have become much more concrete. Um, Within that ecosystem, we can play as practitioners, researchers, trainers, or simply as clients if we feel like simply exploring the experience. Um, so for today, we'll share what has moved in puzzling and reflective neuroscience, and we'll hear what has emerged from this experience for some people, and also what practitioners are starting to do with it. And we'll leave some space for your questions. Okay, Cindy. We'll leave some space for your questions, ideas, and potential also ways to contribute at the end of the call. All right. So what has happened so far? So the story so far is, it's funny. Recently, I found an email that dated from 6 years ago, back in 2020. And at the time, this was really just a curiosity. I was working on my first company where we were creating spaces by the ocean and basically to let people slow down, reflect, and reconnect, and both for individuals and teams. And since then, well, the landscape has changed quite a bit. This is now a new venture, and we've now completed more than 800 brain imaging sessions. And we realized that over time, basically, the question shifted from what can we measure to how can we help people see themselves differently? Like, how can we help people reconnect with parts of themselves that have been screaming to be seen, from the backseat, if you have the picture. And so that's really what we are building today, that reflective experience. And we learned that the data alone is not enough. And the challenge is really to turn something super complex, like the brain and some of our stuff, into an experience that feels understandable, personal, useful, and maybe also enjoyable, so you don't feel like you are having more work at the end of the day. And all this while trying to make anyone not reduced to a fixed score or to a profile, and that can be challenging. And so that's what gradually became what we call now reflective neuroscience. And yeah, much of the learning came from conversations with clients, with practitioners, with schools, trainers. And we've been listening to what felt useful, but also to what created friction, what was missing. And especially how this could fit into practices. And so what we heard was that basically people want playful exploration. Like, we don't want more pressure to improve. That's a big one. And also, there is a big need for personalized insights, meaning that we want to be able to look at concrete stories, stories we can relate to, and not some kind of a one size fits all profile. Another big one is well, people want simple visualizations, and that has, I feel, two main functions. One is that an image can simply float to the subconscious. And maybe also sometimes a simple picture is easy to share and to live with, as a memory. Yeah, we had a first life where we were working with private research, and this had been a challenge in the sense that it kind of blocks us from learning what's behind the scene, how the system works. And so now we really focus on published research. Another big ask is recognizable patterns instead of theoretical insights. And this goes with personalized insights in the sense that we, well, we really want these concrete insights that the brain can process, but also maybe these insights that one can actually relate to and that we might feel in our body. And that's one big ask to go basically from the mind to the feeling space. So we can really integrate them. And one last, maybe thought-provoking. What does that mean? Thought-provoking. Yeah, this is meant to one thing that's pretty cool with brain imaging in particular is that it can be a gentle way to push new ideas without feeling the guilt. And sometimes we have all positive profiles or police profiles, which are nice, but they might push us into validating what we see in ourselves instead of opening up a conversation. And yeah, and so that's what we try to do also today. We can look at what one thinks and what the brain signals, and when we put the two pictures side by side, it allows to create an amazing conversation. But I feel like you will tell us more about that, Andres, and maybe the. All right.
Is it already my turn? No.
Yes. No. So thank you
And
for sharing.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, over the past 6 months, we've been working alongside practitioners and coaches, and it just really had this great gift of gaining better understanding on what is actually needed and how we could be supportive of each other. And so that's actually led us to create some new things along the way. We've actually developed a catalog, a neuromarker catalog, which has been pretty phenomenal. Andreas is going to go into a little bit of depth in that. We've been developing new reports and brain mapping as well. So we have a phenomenal new report, which has actually just been updated with around 55 neuromarkers, if I'm correct. We've also actually started using some AI tools for personalized storytelling. So it's really cool. We take the independent reports from each person and we run them through this personalized storytelling engine. And what comes out is these really nice, crafted, small bite-sized bits of information that just help people reflect. And we've also developed out a starter kit on the Mighty Networks platform. And that's a way if someone's interested in getting involved, becoming an EEG practitioner themselves, or maybe just being a coach who wants to learn how to coach reflective neuroscience or even partner with someone who's doing brain scans. And what that led us into was actually creating our first cohort program because we found that people really want to learn together and do this in community. And so this will actually be hosted within the Mighty Networks platform. And we've actually been working quite closely with a partner named Willem Royaards. And I'm sorry if I butchered your last name there, Willem. But Willem is a great, great, great partner of ours. We're actually going to hear from him in about a second. His company is called My Coaching Toolkit. He has a business in France as well, also has one in Holland, and he's been involved with the NBN Hub for quite some time and some other organizations. So without further ado, let's go ahead and invite Willem on, if you don't mind.
Let me turn on my mic. Thanks. Thanks, Joshua.
Yeah, so welcome, Willem. I'm going to go ahead and spotlight you if you're okay with that.
Absolutely.
Fantastic. I may spotlight myself as well. So let's see here. Cool. So lovely to see you again, as always. Um,
Same here.
yeah, I just have to say, every time I get on with Willem, it's just full of energy and excitement. And I love the work that we do together because it's so co-creative
Yeah.
and it's just developing so quickly, you know? So again, and before we start, how are you today? How are things going?
I'm well, very well, thanks. And it's nice to see lots of new faces here. It's always good to see this nice crowd all together.
Yeah, so if we dive into it, you've been in coaching for quite some time. Um, I think I read up on you a little bit. I think it's been like 30 years or so inside coaching.
Probably about, well, 30 years in HR, let's say
Okay.
the HR business, coaching probably something like 20. Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. So 20 more than me. We'll just say that. Um, but you've been around, so you've seen things shift and change over time. So I was just really curious around, as coaching has been evolving, even aspects of neuroscience has come in.
Yeah,
Um, where do you think coaching itself may be going in the next like 5 to 10 years or so?
that's a nice one. I think, I think yes, the coaching is definitely entering, if you like, a new phase. When you're taught coaching, so to say, when you go to a school, they always go, it's all about deep conversations and so on, which it is, obviously. But I think that the future of coaching is also about understanding what creates lasting change. And if you like, let's say neuroscience, neuroplasticity, behavioral science, and all that sort of stuff, give us a much better and deeper understanding of why people change, and sometimes also actually sometimes why they don't change. And I think that coaches who will have the biggest impacts just won't ask better questions, if you like. What they will do or what they will need to do is to create experiences that help clients build, let's say, new behaviors and not just new insights. And that's what I think this is where coaching is going to.
Hmm. That sounds perfect. And it sounds like I should hire you as my coach because I tend to be stuck in my ways. So, yeah, that's noted. But I think it's so true. And, the essence of what we've kind of found together is the reflective neuroscience,
Yeah,
basically as a new category, and really arming coaches with new tools that allows their clients to just have a deeper sense of self-reflection,
absolutely.
literally just to
Absolutely.
take a pause and go, huh, what's that? Right?
Quite so. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think as we've, grown together and learned together, I'm just curious, what do you see in this space of reflective neuroscience, and how do you feel it might be a natural fit for this industry of coaching?
That's a nice question. I mean, I think it's a total natural fit in the sense that so many times, if you like, I developed with another neuroscientist a model which we call the PPMB model. So it's preparation. Anyway, let's not talk about the model, but it's more about very often in coaching, what we do is many coaches start with the behavior, which is a good thing. We talk about our behavior, but actually trying to understand before that behavior, there's a meaning we give to stuff. And many coaches, I think, do try to dig into that meaning and understanding it, but this is very often where it stops. And it's all about, if you like, to to dig into, okay, but before that meaning, there is a preparation of your body. So, and I think this is where neuroscience, if you like, when we did together the EGs, so much stuff comes out of it, and it gives you such great insights to actually, when we coach, we can actually go down and sort of draw it down to, okay, but what is actually happening here, and questioning that. I think that's the most important thing.
Yeah, I agree with that too. Just those, we call them the aha moments that happen,
Yep,
and then we also, of course, there are rabbit holes that can happen as well. Even though
absolutely.
deep down the rabbit hole, there is something there
Yeah,
typically, and it's
yeah,
quite healthy to go down there.
yeah,
And even more healthy to be supported, by a coach when we're kind of accessing those realms, of our own nature. So,
absolutely. Yeah.
yeah, that rather fascinating. I think to jump, to skip over here, what I also like is like this is really a care model, what we're talking about.
Yeah.
And we've been in discussion around setting up a hub, basically,
Yep.
yeah, as like a center for different practitioners to come to work together. And I know you've already gotten some good inroads in Holland on potentially
Yes.
setting up a hub. We're looking at the UK. We're
Yeah.
looking over here in New York in the US. So that really excites us. But what really excites us is that the hub is not just for practitioners or for clients or for a hub owner, but really any creator, any therapist, a breath worker, a somatic coach to come in and actually work more in an ecosystem environment.
Yeah.
So when we talk about that, and I took down a little quote here earlier today. It's basically was like when I think about the work we're doing together, I wrote, we're not building a platform for practitioners, we're building a place where practitioners help build one another. That's kind of what came up. So what resonates with you when you hear that?
I think there's a lot anyway. When I think back on our collaboration where we all started, it's all about the same values. It's growing and it's evolving together, and helping each other. And I think this ecosystem can really be a place where we can ask each other questions, where we can help each other, and where, if you like, sharing and working together just feels natural. I think that really is that's how it always is always always felt, and that's how it should be.
Yeah, yeah, I love that. Lovely, very lovely. Okay, so let's do a quick little lightning round real quick. Okay,
Okay.
I'm gonna ask you one question and I just want one answer, a one word
All
answer.
right.
That's okay. So, what's one word that describes great coaching?
Transformation.
Ooh, that's a good one. Coffee or tea?
That would be both.
Both.
Yes, absolutely.
That's one word that counts.
I
Um,
know. Uh, at the moment, it's coffee, put it that way.
okay, okay. Good answer. Let's see. What's one belief about coaching that's changed your mind about coaching itself? Like one belief about it. So,
Mm, people don't change simply because they think differently.
mm,
They really change because when they repeatedly, if you like, experience a different way of thinking, feeling, and behaving.
hmm.
It's not one word, but that's one sentence.
Yeah, that works for me. And so last one, if coaching disappeared tomorrow, like off the face of the earth, right? What work would you still feel called to do?
I would definitely be still keep on helping people to understand, if you like, how the brain creates behavior and how we can intentionally shape um, more adaptive patterns. So call it coaching, call it education, call it leadership development. Anyway, unlocking sustainable human development would for me be the key.
It's fantastic. Okay, that's wonderful. And so the last thing I want to do is just ask the audience, everyone here, to type one word into the chat if you're okay with that. What do you hope the future of coaching and human development feels like? Just one word.
Nice.
Yeah. Connected, compassionate, coherent, three C's, intuitive, lovely, communicate, expansive. Can you take away the automatic fireflies? Yep, we'll try to do that. Self-knowledge. I love it. Okay, that's brilliant. All right, Willem, thank you for your time. Transformative. Oof, very good. We need more of that.
Welcome.
Yeah, thanks for your time. And
I love all those answers in the chat here. It's very, very inspiring. I think
yeah,
there's a lot of stuff there. Yeah,
yeah,
nice.
awesome. Well, thank you. Adrian, back to you.
Okay, interesting conversation. Surprising, even. Thank, yeah, thank you guys for sharing. And I guess that will be your turn, Andreas, if you would like to share some of your story.
All right. Okay. I hope everybody can hear and see me. Yes, it's a pleasure that you're all here today. I'm extremely excited. I'm basically, I would say, the head scientist behind the analysis, and this is a picture which illustrates what I was dealing most in the last 1.5 to 2 years. So on the left side, we have this amazing neuroscientific literature, very complex, very detailed, but there is a lot of knowledge in. And on the right side, we have moments of self-reflection and personal growth. And we were trying to be this bridge. And it's extremely challenging, but I have to say, where we are nowadays, I'm very proud. We achieved a lot. We have over 50 neuromarkers. And the cool thing about these neuromarkers is that they are based on modern science. So um, I took a lot of information from papers which were 5 years old, 2 or 3 years old even. So then we have these neuromarkers internally validated based on our data bank. We have a very high data quality because we clean our recordings automatically, and that's really nice. That's something we implemented lately. And then we have this, as Joshua said, this amazing neuromarker catalog where complex science was transformed into accessible language. And this basically gives us an amazing foundation, okay? So then what we were working next is the reflection. And it's not so easy, okay, to create moments of reflection. It's quite tricky. And we were thinking about to create different products, and one product we already have finished on our web page. And let's think about moments or situations in life or features which allow us to create moments of reflection. And one thing which helps us is for sure a mirror. And we can see ourselves, we have our perspective, but having a mirror or a person who reflects us and in what we're doing and how we're behaving, of course, always helps. So what could this be? So if you think about having a good friend, friends very often try to make us feel very comfortable. But now think about a very, very good friend, okay? Someone who's also courageous enough to sometimes tell us more than other people would do. And based on this idea, we try to create a product, and this is what we have now online as the Big Five. Where we compare psychology versus biology. So you fill out the questionnaire, you get as data your Big Five, and then we measure the brain and we try to predict the Big Five based on your biology. And based on this contrast, then you can see yourself, oh, maybe I'm more extroverted than I think. Maybe I'm more conscientious than I think. So it gives you an amazing foundation for self-reflection, and it was already intensively tested by Adrian and Kara. It's a beautiful model or however you want to call it, but I was not yet fully satisfied. I wanted to have more, and it's always funny because I hope you can see this. Adrian and I were working very closely with each other. I'm the person who always wants to constantly improve. I'm trying to make one model after the other. And Adrian tells me, Andreas, it's nice what you do, but we also need to put this in front of the people and test. Okay, so we need to see how people are working with the stuff, what is their experience, and then we continue. And remember this story or these words because it's going to be interesting at the end. So stubborn as I am, I was of course always working on new things. And another way how to create moments of self-reflection is of course where do we put our awareness? And I think is a very important one, because we can constantly repeat our internal patterns. And I don't know if you had this, for sure some of you had this experience, that someday we put our awareness to a certain area, to a certain moment, and then you realize, okay, this is what I'm doing wrong. Okay, this is what I could change. And whenever you experience this, it doesn't go away anymore. So putting the attention at the right place is very important. And my dream was that if a person does brain recording, that he gets at the end an information or a sheet or a story where that really describes precisely what the person's shadow sides are and to what this person needs to be very aware of. And therefore, I created this new tool, which is called the Archetyper. This is not yet online. This is still a test version, but it's really potent and I like it a lot. I would like to quickly jump to it. And this is how it looks in the browser version. It's running on my computer. This is my data, okay? So the first layer of information here is that you're gonna be put into in a 2D axis. So do I spend more into an inner or into the outer world? And I'm leaning more towards the inner world, which means I naturally process experience through internal reflection, imagination, and personal meaning. And then there is another axis, the structured and the fluid one. And here I'm moving more towards fluid. And that means I prefer openness, adaptability, and keeping multiple possibilities available. That's not all. Then based on this axis, you are put into 4 different categories. So you can be dreamer, pioneer, thinker, or strategist. And I have 2 very strong components as my primary cognitive styles. So my strongest one is the thinker, and then I can also be a dreamer. Okay, so I'm going to focus a little bit on the thinker because it fits very well to me, and it means that I process the world by building detailed internal models and examining information carefully before responding. So I'm not going to go through the whole, to the whole analyze in order to the whole report now. I'm just going to show you what's on the surface. And you can then also, for example, look at the different neuromarkers who support this style. They are all put here. And then there's also a second style, so my supporting style. And here I'm an explorer and an empath. Okay, so far so good. I really like the interface, and you get a lot of information out of this already. But now the magic comes. Okay, now we use the power of AI, and I built several prompts. Okay, and my favorite one is shadow sides and contradictions. So you can just go to the top of the viewer, you click here, you can copy these prompts, and then you go to your AI of interest. I did this already. I copied this into ChatGPT, and I really get an amazing text. It's so precise. It's not generic, and I tested this now on 5 people, and all of them were like, wow. They saw themselves in this text, and also many of them said, if I would have known this before, it would have saved me a lot of time. So I'm also not gonna go through this text for the sake of time, but I'm gonna jump back to the presentation, and I'm just gonna tell you what my 3 takeaways from this experience was. I asked ChatGPT, so okay, what are my shadow sides? Okay, so what should I be very aware in my life? And thinking number 1 was, the next piece of information feels necessary to acquire, but you cannot say how it would change my decision. So the thinker in its core wants to constantly build the internal models. The thinker wants to predict the world, and he remains strongly internally. He has a lot of joy jongling around with thoughts and so on, but instead of having a new information, I have to ask myself if it's really necessary and it would help me really with a decision. Thinking number 2, I'm explaining my emotional reaction rather than naming it. And I was also excited about this one because this is something I had like in my 20s. I would say I already overcame this one. And back in the days, I would have uh, explained what I feel rather than just saying, I'm angry, I'm sad, I'm excited, I'm ashamed. And this basically was very important for me to overcome so that I'm much more connected with my emotions and I'm allowing myself to express them at any time. And the last thing, you remember, yeah, what I had with Adrian in close conversation. You are still improving the model while avoiding the smallest action that would test it. So, who was saying this? Yeah, that's basically happening in the conversation with me and Adrian. So, who needs basically ChatGPT if you have very good partners and teammates and working very well with each other? Indeed, the thinker on its shadow side is someone who tries to predict the world based on being secure. This is what we all do, but the thinker does it especially in his mind. He creates a lot of internal models. But if these models are never tested, because you might be afraid of critique, because you might be afraid that your predictions are not as accurate as you think, this will always block you. And right now, since we are basically trying to build this stuff up, the last piece of information was extremely exciting for me. And based on this, I thought, okay, let's test, please, these models. And so this is going to be a little bit my new role here. If you are curious, then please, okay, come to me, contact me, message me. If you want to test these models, I will be here for you. We can go through the reports together. We can. I would love to hear your feedback. I'm very excited what you think about these tools, and yeah, that would be like my next role here. So feel free to get in contact with me, and with that, I hand the stuff forward to Kara, I think, or back to Adrian. I'm not sure.
To Kara, thank you for sharing, Andreas.
Yes.
And it's been an amazing year working with you on this. I'm really grateful. Yeah.
Yes, same here. Absolutely.
Well, thank you. Yeah, it's exciting. You've gotten to hear from our three team members, and now I'll go ahead and introduce myself. I know some of you. My name's Kara Nance, and I got my EEG cap 2.5 years ago after 20 years of practicing as an internal medicine doctor. But along my journey, I found my way to becoming a mindfulness-based stress reduction teacher through insight meditation. I'm a certified trainer in nonviolent communication. I'm a certified resident healer, helping people with guided imagery to recover traumatic memories. I'm also certified in psychedelic medicine and practice ketamine-assisted psychotherapy and soon to be psilocybin. So my journey as an internal medicine doctor has taken me to realize that yes, of course, I can prescribe medications, I can order tests, I can help people understand the biology that they're dealing with in their physical health. But what has made the most impact with my clients is really to help them understand what a huge mind, heart, body connection that there is. And when my patients have sickness in the mind in the form of anxiety, depression, any of these things, or the heart. I mean, and I don't want to separate these systems. We all know that they're all talking to each other all the time, but that it's really not just about the body. So, yeah, if you ever want to check out my practice, it's wellessencemd.com. You'll see that this is where I love to take this holistic view. So, coming to this myself and really spending the last 15 years focusing in this way, I happened to meet Adrian and Andreas and discovered that they have equal passions and complementary skill sets that have allowed us to come together with the yes, the person who is giving, us this beautiful platform, and the person who provides the research background, and Joshua, who is bringing us all together with our strategy and vision. And I'm able to bring my 20 plus years of human experience and actually sitting with people in their most vulnerable moments when I'm prescribing medicines for anxiety, depression, ADHD, helping them overcome PTSD. And one of the things that I've learned is that people love it when you offer them something and it resonates. I love looking at the word intimacy and breaking that down to say, into me, see. You can see inside of me, and I can see inside of you. And it's when there's this real felt sense of you get me and you know who I am, that there's enough safety and trust that you're not going to tell me that my experience doesn't make sense or that it's not validated. And this actually not only gives us that felt sense, human to human, but we love to see it in concrete ways as well. We know that as humans, what we're trying to do is navigate this world of uncertainty. So when we go inside, it can be a confusing landscape, and it can be, well, my feelings are complex, my thoughts are complex. When I listen to you, I can immediately tell that you are having a whole variety of thoughts and feelings. And now we have this third place, which is the relationship in between us. So I have found what we've created to be an incredibly powerful and useful gift for navigating that divide. Because now we can navigate those moments of confusion and say, okay, well, hold on. Here's a moment where I have one perspective and you have one perspective. What might we be seeing that could be different? And so we can step back and look at that and say, ah, well, Andreas, you're a dreamer and I'm a pioneer. Of course, we're seeing it, this way or prioritizing that over the other thing. We can really lean into that. So that's a little bit about how I came to it and why I care about it. And then I'm also just tagging whoever's looking at the waiting room. One of the clients is about to arrive, so just keep your eyes out for Maureen, who's ever letting people in. So that's basically where it started for me. Since then, I also have a very strong interest in research. I brought an EEG cap to my resonant healing community, and I know that a few of you here actually saw the presentation that Andreas and I did, where we had a cap on somebody receiving resonance, a cap on somebody giving resonance, and we could see neuromarkers shifting through this healing process. So it's really exciting to know that, yes, of course, we have baseline resting states, but then we put an intervention on top and we can see that neuroplasticity is so real. And when we practice certain things, we can actually start to shift our baseline and then ultimately shift our experience. So I also very recently, just 3 weeks ago, was with Mary Blue and Madison at a breathwork retreat. And we got to put caps on breathworkers and say, oh, this is your resting state. And then actually engage in a breathwork process and then actually capture data while they were breathing and after the breathwork sessions. So this is again a way that we can start to bring the science to show us how these different modalities are actually changing. And when your clients can see, wow, sure, I have this felt sense, but this is the part of my brain that's actually shifting. We talked a little bit early on in the call about how we need the motivation to actually make the change. Because as open as we want to think we also are a little stubborn. We can be a little stuck in our ways. And actually having that data in front of us and seeing that we're changing something allows us to have that link that brings it back to our direct experience. So I actually have been reviewing these scans from the retreat with Jessica Dibb at the Inspiration Consciousness School in Baltimore, Maryland. And I am lucky enough to have one of my new friends that I met there, Maureen, here, because we just got her report pulled together and ran it through the latest version of our system. And I'm just like, hey, Maureen, read through this. And just like, tell me, how are we doing here? And did we hit anything that felt like it resonated for you? And when you read the summary that I sent you, Maureen, what I would love to hear is just how did that land for you? Like, and I have your text, so if you forget, I can share it. But what was it like when you got to read through your report?
The interesting part was I felt like, how did it know that? Like, how did the synthesis of the information get to the inside of my head? Because how I externalize in the world is what I present and what I do, and not everybody knows what's going on the inside. So when I read specifically that pause part, I was like, oh, that is so true, but nobody's supposed to know that. That's my secret weapon. And so it rang true. Do you want me to give specifics?
Well, let's pause there. So the first thing I want to
I
highlight that you said was that you were kind of like, wow, that so deeply resonates with my experience. I can't believe it because people have a hard time saying that you put this on my head. I sat here with my eyes closed for 15 minutes, and you were able to now tell me what my day-to-day experience is like. That's pretty mind-blowing for people. And right then and there, it
yeah.
really enhances the trust and the confidence that we have when we move forward with the tool. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to share my screen for a moment so that people who haven't seen the report we're working with can get a little preview. And I already have permission from Maureen to share her stuff. So we're going to go ahead and just take a little look at the inside of Maureen's brain that she has validated. Hold on. That's a different screen I'm going to share. Let's go to this one. Okay, so if you join our team, if you come get your brain scanned, if you buy a cap, this is what a brief view of what you'll be able to do with it. So here we have Maureen's brain. And you'll see that, as you heard, we start off with the big five analysis, self-perception. What is it that I'm perceiving about myself across these five domains? Now, we see that Maureen hit herself right on with openness to experience. Those two dots are close to each other. She sort of overestimated her level of conscientiousness, extroversion, and agreeableness towards what we're seeing on the EEG, and then underestimated in this category of neuroticism. Now, how do we start to make sense of that? Well, I'll share that Maureen herself is a coach. I spent 8 days with Maureen. She does not this having these levels here, we need to remember that on the outside is 100%, on the inside is 0%. Being right here is kind of in the middle. When you click on that, you can see that compared to the overall population, she's about 40% on neuroticism, whereas she rated herself as I only actually am aware that I'm having a neurotic moment 5% of the time. Well, we make sense of that, and mine's similar as well. It's like I may not feel like I'm having a lot of anxiety, but it's because when the body sensations or the situation that is creating a normal amount of anxiety, sadness, rage is occurring, Maureen and I both have these capacities to say, I have tools to work with that. I have ways of dealing with it. So, we want to remember that the word neuroticism doesn't sound awesome, but if you had no fear, no rage, no sadness, now you're not human and you're not getting the information that these emotional circuits are here to give us. So, we work with these. And similarly, if your neuroticism is 100 out of 100 out here, well, now this might be somebody who's going to benefit from learning grounding techniques and other ways of pulling it down into this more moderate range. But I always like to say that first. And then what's so cool is that we can actually flip this into facets because there are 6 different facets for each one of these traits. So this is overwhelming when you first look at it, but what you can do here is say, let's go right here to gregariousness, where, we see that Maureen's self-perception and her EEG perception around gregariousness are very, very close. So when we dive in there, that's telling us, oh yeah, that's the story. Now, if we, click on to something, for example, liberalism here, we see that she perceives herself as 91 percentile on liberalism, but a little bit low, on the EEG, we're like, well, she's actually a little bit on the lower side. So then we might say, huh, Why is that? What are the neural markers that are feeding into that? So we went through Maureen's report, and one of the cool things is that it will actually give us the three neural markers that for the population that we have right now make her stand out as the most unique in her structure. So over here, you can see that we could either break up these neural markers based on the category that we're talking about. So if I want to specifically look at a domain or a trait, we can do that. But for Maureen, she gave me permission to talk about one or two of her most, I'm going to just do one for the sake of time. But what we'll do is we'll talk about approach motivation. Okay. So when we look at this, what we see is that Maureen is very left shifted on approach motivation. And what does that mean? Well, when you click on it, it says that this left shift reflects a brain that prefers to pause and assess before moving toward new opportunities. This pattern often supports thoughtful observation, careful decision making, and taking time to understand a situation before engaging. Action may follow once there is a clearer sense of the situation. Now, when we scroll down, we can see exactly the parts of the brain that we took this measurement from. And, Maureen, this was the power of the pause that we're talking about. You have a very strong link to that. And why don't you speak a little bit more about why did you develop the power of the pause?
Yeah, so in my world growing up, I'm a gay woman, and so a gay 62-year-old almost back in the day, assessing for my environment, assessing for safety, being well aware of my surroundings and the who's and the what's and whatnot. It meant my safety. It meant my inclusion or exclusion in many ways. So I feel like as gregarious as I am and as outward as I am, I resonated with this big time. I do have a pause, but it's quick. I have the ability to really assess quickly who's safe, who isn't, what the energy is, et cetera. It's been a gift that has grown. So when I read this part, I was like, oh my gosh, Kara, this is like so spot on. But once again, who would know that?
Well, let me pause and pivot off of something that you just said. So she said, I totally pause. I know I do, but it's very quick. So why is it quick? Well, it's quick in Maureen because check out this other neural marker that she has. Empathic trust, very shifted to the right. This reflects a brain that more readily forms an intuitive sense of what others may be thinking or feeling. It supports empathic understanding, perspective taking, and connecting with people through immediate social impressions. Social understanding may emerge quickly, allowing trust and connection to develop more intuitively. She also, her other third biggest one, is sensory openness. When we look at sensory openness, also very far to the right. This means that she has a brain that more readily brings in subtle impressions, inner imagery, and intuitive experiences. It supports imagination, noticing patterns, and allowing a wider
Can't see
range
your
of
screen.
Oh,
Can't see your
what happened?
screen.
Oh, you
I
can't.
don't know.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Oop. Let's share that again. Okay. Can you see it now?
Yes.
Yes, okay. So I was reading about sensory openness, basically saying that she's able to consciously become aware of ideas, images, and subtle impressions with greater ease. So I wanted to highlight this in Maureen because it shows how my impression of Maureen is that of a person where I can say, Hey Maureen, I'm blown away by this scan. Can we figure out how to make you available in 2 hours to tell this story? And she's like, Yes. Now that does not sound like somebody who has really high, approach motivation that's like pause. But that's because she has the wisdom from years of working in schools, and these were schools for kids that were in, explain what your career was, Maureen.
Yeah, so I ran the alternative high schools, kids that got kicked out of the traditional schools in the inner city of New Haven, Connecticut, as well as coming out of juvenile detention and or jail. So they were highly trauma-informed environments.
So there you go. So you can imagine that this environment, high school in and of itself can be chaotic, but a high school that's with people coming out of juvenile detention centers and the people taking care of these, it was very important that Maureen had this ability to take in all the information of her staff as well as the kids, that she could sense what everybody was feeling and thinking, and that she could be the one that would be like, wait. In the midst of chaos, though, and be able to bring that pause and bring that stability. So I thought that she would be a beautiful example of showing how we can actually look inside somebody's brain and see both where their superpowers come from, as well as areas where they might be struggling. And then specifically based off of that neuromarker, be able to provide practices and ways of shifting something so that your experience can be more congruent. So thank you so much for being here, Maureen, and feel free to stay. I want to just pause and see if there are any questions from the field, because that was like a that's a fraction of what we can do with this tool. And that was a huge information dump on everybody in like 10 minutes. So let's practice the pause that Maureen is so good at. And let's go ahead and see if anybody wants to ask either Maureen a question or us a question about this process.
I have a question.
Yeah, Odile.
I agree with Willem that insight alone doesn't transform. So from the insight you had from the session with Kara, which practice have you implemented to transform
We
whatever?
didn't get that far, Odile, with Maureen.
Okay,
We haven't
okay,
done
okay.
that.
So
I'm very
I'm
excited.
sorry.
No, that's okay. I'm very excited to get to that part. That's why I wanted to participate in this. For my own personal growth, you get to a point where all the external resources that you have fall a little short. And so when Kara came along with this and was like, let's hop inside your brain, I was like, hurry up. Let's do it. And so I am extraordinarily open and looking forward to that little research and to see what is in there and how it leads me to a path of some different type of healing, knowledge of self, especially when we're all in this room functioning well, right? I want to top my game.
Yeah,
I want
thank
to
you.
polish my piece. But forgive me, I'm in my bathing suit. I'm on vacation with my family. So
Go
if
to
there's
the
no
beach.
other questions, I'm heading back to the beach.
Yeah, we're great, Maureen. You get out of here and we'll talk more soon.
Thanks
Yeah,
so much, everybody. Take care.
thank you.
Bye-bye.
Yeah, and I just wanted to share that where we are as a team right now has truly been in building this, in validating it. I've done 147 scans, so that's been a lot of time and a lot of people. And what phase I'm in right now is what you saw me doing with Maureen, where I'm going back to them and I'm saying, does this validate your experience? Does this make sense of your inner world? And we are getting a resounding yes. And the other thing that's been particularly fun for me is that so far I've scanned myself, my partner, my mother, and two sons. I have two more children and my dad to get to. But as we've sat here and read all of this to each other, it's actually been a really fun experience, because specifically, like when I was sharing what Andreas was sharing about the shadow side, I sent it to my 26-year-old daughter, and her response was, "Oh my God, literally, this is what I was trying to explain to you, put more eloquently, very accurate." And then I read her the shadow side, and she said, 3 and 8 are most important for our mother-daughter relationship, but that's super cool, and I can't wait to get my brain scanned. So it's like, having adult children to both say, you know, you're probably shocked to know that sometimes they're annoyed with me. What are they annoyed with me by? It's right there in the shadow. So, I get a week of vacation to practice this with my daughter, and we have this tool in front of us. And these are the kind of things that I can see even in family therapy really being helpful because it helps people to see the perspective that they're coming from. And is it Gihan or I'm not sure how to say your name.
Hi, Kara. This is Vian.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I have a question. Thank you for the presentation. It was very interesting. I have a question. Then you talked about you experienced that with the people you know,
Yep.
and I was thinking, even with Maureen, how much do you think it impacts the experience that you know already the person? So there is here a factor of trust, of also of communication, and I was discussing that with Adrien before, that the timing to use that kind of tool is crucial in a coaching process. So I wanted to have your take on that.
Yeah,
The
well, great
timing
question.
and yeah.
Yeah. Well, when you say like we know each other well, like we've known each other for 1 month. Okay. So, in terms of how well do we know each other, we met at a breathwork retreat.
Oh, really? Okay.
And I did the scan on Maureen 5 days into an 8-day retreat. So we only had known each other actually for 5 days, and it was in a group setting with like 30 other people. So it all depends on how do you know each other. Now, Maureen and I have some great chemistry, which is why I decided, we've been texting for 3 weeks now since we left the experience. So I don't actually think I know her that well. I mean, I've known a lot of people more than a month. But the other thing is that I think that after 23 years of working as an outpatient internal medicine doctor, where I see 25 people every day, half of them I've never met before because they're new patients, half of them are probably follow-up patients. There's a way that I have coming into close relationship with people pretty quickly. So if you know the Enneagram by chance, some people here know type. I'm a three-wing two, and I'm an ENTP. So as a three-wing two, we're like the social chameleon. So personally, I'm pretty good at assessing pretty quickly what is this person's style and how should I approach them. And of course, I don't hit it 100% of the time, but I think I'm pretty good. So usually when somebody's coming in for a brain scan, they've already said yes to it. They've decided that they want it. So somebody has built some trust along the way. But I think with coaches, one of the things that I really want to support people in who start to use this technique is to say, what are the consents we need to get before we do it? What are the pain points we need to understand? My personal preference and why I think I'm on this team is that I'm heavily trauma informed, both being a physician, a resident healer, as well as a psychedelic medicine practitioner. So anybody who comes on board through our organization is going to not come out being able to say, I am a certified trauma-informed therapist, but I want to do my best to highlight the most important pieces because remember, intimacy is what this is about for me. And before I let you into my brain and into my inner world, I need to know that you're going to be able to hold some things that might be very personal and very sensitive with the compassion and care and pacing that I need. I just threw this at you guys really fast because this is a short meeting, but obviously we go much more slowly, and it's all about mirroring and reflecting how our client is responding. So the resonance and the attunement is really important. Does that help you?
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you. And I mean, it's brought to my mind many other questions, but for another meeting. Thank
Thank you.
you very much, Kara.
Well, and I'm going to pause and throw it back to Joshua or Adrian, whoever is taking us where we're going next. I'm happy to answer anything else, but that's my bit.
Hey, thank you, Kara. Amazing energy. You do have that talent to bring people intimacy and around the table. It's amazing. I see that it's been almost 1 hour. If that's okay with you guys, we can take a few more minutes. All right. And we could go with a few more questions. Um, I guess you guys could be by the beach, at the beach, in your bath suit, but you decided to be here today. So I guess you might have some questions, or if you feel like sharing, feel free to drop any question that you might have, or any projects, or any idea that you have. Feel free to drop it in the chat, and we could go over a few questions, or just raise your hand.
I have a question,
Yeah.
and
Okay.
for Willem, actually, because you work in organization and in coaching.
Yeah.
So um, I have a sense that team coaching is very important,
Mm-hmm.
and a team is greater than individuals. So how in this picture, this frame, how do you see the use of puzzling in team coaching?
That's a nice one. Thanks, Odile. Um, I've in the past I've used uh different profiles which are not EEG scans,
Hmm.
but they are very specific brain profiles, if you like.
Okay.
Um, the incredible great thing is when we put together the team, they said, I don't understand. Sometimes I really feel like, we don't understand each other, we don't work well together, or there's certain things which just clash. And when I showed them their brain profiles, so not the scans, okay, but literally brain
Hmm.
profiles, and I'm
Okay.
like, okay. So if you like, it was very easy to actually to connect people with each other and to sort of say, here you see, we're all different. And if we can
Mm.
respect each other's differences, we can do so much more together. So in the end, if you like, we really put together a whole process of, okay, if I need to be more, let me be very basic, more analytical, or if I need someone a little bit more introverted, or this, or this, or this, or left-hand brain or right-hand brain, well, in that case, maybe this is the person I should ask. So
Mm.
I think yes, this goes one step further, if you like. And on top of it, what I find very interesting is the self-perception and the scan. Actually, they learn so much about themselves that in the end
Oh
they go,
yeah,
yeah, okay. So yes, I mean, does it answer your question, Adil?
yeah. Uh, well, I think it's just a matter of trying and testing, but I think a team is self-perception of the team. The team is greater than the people,
Yeah.
and we won't be able. But whatever, we won't be able to measure, or maybe I don't know. I'm just trying
You're
to
thinking.
figuring out,
Yes.
thinking, uh, or maybe when if the scan are made all together because they are in a specific, I don't know, no, no, in a specific context, but no, I don't know.
Feel free to reach out to me if you like another time if you like to talk about it. Happy to. This might be we haven't got that much time here in today's
No, no,
session.
no, 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 no. I was just okay. Thank you, William.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
With pleasure.
If I can
Curious
drop
about that question too, actually, Odile. Like, how can we look at the team's potential? Like, when we look at individuals working together, how can we get a picture of the team's potential? You know, what goes beyond the team? Like, how can we reflect that? It's mm, a question for you, Andreas.
yes,
But
so
I
maybe
mean,
It would
the
be
somebody
amazing, my
can
archetyper.
friends,
dive in.
it would be amazing if you have the possibility to actually create a team profile at some point,
Yeah,
and get everyone together on a sort of on a graph.
yeah.
I think the
That's
archetyper is a great tool for this. So I tested all, so I checked all our, Joshua is our strategist, Adrian is our pioneer, Kara and me, Kara is thinker, I'm a dreamer and thinker. So we are very nicely distributed. And you can just, I just see it everywhere when we are working with each
And
other.
I'm a thinker
And it
and
was very,
pioneer. Yeah.
yeah, you're a thinker and pioneer. Yeah. So it's extremely exciting also to look then into this and understand where the communication fails. I think this tool has a lot of potential to do exactly that.
mm,
There's no doubt. Yeah,
yeah,
I would use it for teams. Yeah.
Yeah.
that's a good one. Thank you.
Well, and a family's a team, like I've been using
Exactly.
it in my family, and so you can see how it can be used for professional and personal. And I've done several couples, and I'm excited to sit down with them and review their scans and see how they use it.
Yeah.
So, the possibilities here are really quite endless. And we're
I
just
would
so
like.
excited that the science behind it. I mean, both Andreas and Adrian and Joshua have really kept us to this level of rigor where we're at right now is just having so much confidence in what we've built because we've done that internal validation that Andreas has shared, that now we need not just us to take it into the world, but we're hoping all of you take it into the world because we need to get all the experiences in, and that's what is really going to help us to learn more at this point.
oh, any question or curiosity that you would like to share? And otherwise, maybe Joshua, if I want to play with that, how can I do that, Joshua?
Yeah, thank you, Adrian. Yeah, so easy way to play with that, excuse me, would be for everyone to join the Mighty Networks community. We have a really nice community space and a spot called Conversations in there. So I'm going to go ahead and just add that to the chat. You'll see the link there. So what we would love for you all to do, if you're open and if you want to play with us, is to just hop in the Mighty Networks, join the community. You'll see a post up there inside the conversations thread. And if you wish, you could just enter your name, some things that you might be curious about or how you want to contribute, or anything really, and also enter your location if that's okay too. And another fun thing too is you can also just give us a little video as well. Adrian mentioned he might add one, and I'll probably put one in there myself. So we'd love to hear from you all. And I see Kara has to go. So Kara, thank you so much for your time
Thank you,
today.
everyone.
Thank,
Thank you, Karen.
thank you, Kara.
Right. I guess it's time for closing. Thank you all for joining today, and see you on Mighty on that community tool if you feel like joining. And I believe I know there is quite a bit of interest around brain imaging. One challenge sometimes is the location, like how can we get connected to experience it or to see what it's like. And that's really one reason for creating these tools is to facilitate connections between us. So feel free to join and ask your questions, share whatever is on top of your mind. Um, and keep in touch, I guess. Enjoy the summer. I heard it's quite nice outside too. And if there is no more question, enjoy your day. see you at the next table or before.
You too.
All right.
Merci, Adrien. Bye, everyone.
Merci.
soon.
À bientôt.
Bye.
Thank you, guys.